What's up, everybody, and welcome to the FPL WildCats Live. Thank you so much for joining us this Wednesday evening. And of course, we do have a guest. You can see him already, but I'll let Nim do the introductions after you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you know when we go live, because we don't always go on the same days, unfortunately. My fault. But anyway, Nim, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Welcome everyone to the stream. We're joined tonight by our honorary FPL Wildcat, FPL Focus, formerly known as Fantasy Football Focus. How are you doing, Graham? Did you enjoy your international break?
Yes, very much so. Nice and refreshing and ready to go again, Nim.
Good. Well, we always start by having a look at how we got on in our previous game week. So, Focus, would you like to kick us off with how you got on in game week 4, please?
Sure thing. So 64 points, which was very much welcome after some terrible game weeks before that. Martinez getting a free, so 1 bonus point, better than nothing. Hey ho. I mean, goalkeepers are set and forget. Saiss with a nice 8 in there, which I liked, obviously. And then Gabriel and Castagna letting me down with just a 2 and a 1 there. Moving into the midfield. Here's the big bad point was Harvey Barnes's last minute, pretty much. VAR gold ruled out. I captained him, so that was part of the reason I needed a break, really. But the score's good. If I'd hit the captain, could have been wonderful. KDB flopping as he has been. I'm sure he'll come out of that eventually, just a 2. James Rodriguez, take a bow on 18 points. Helder Costa, a bit of a punt there, just 2 points, so fair enough. Kane on a nice 16. Calvert-Lewin on a 6, and Timo Flop Werner on a 2. And that sums me up, Nim.
Cool. Wow. Yeah. Werner's been lots of fun, hasn't he?
What's the plan with Werner,
away.
Graham? What is the plan, Graham, with Werner?
Now you mention it, I have actually kept him because I admittedly, and I know I shouldn't do this, I made my transfer early and I done it straight away. KDB for Son. So I swapped, got Son in now. Now he's been flagged, could possibly prove to definitely be the right decision. So therefore, Werner's just survived. But I've got a feeling Werner could come good, but judging on what we've seen, not so far. Not so far.
Cool. Well, yeah, I think that's like an interesting one, you going early on that transfer for sure. It might work out brilliant for you. Kurt, how did you get on, buddy?
Pretty bang average, I think. Just had to re-log in. It's been that long.
It's not bang average. It's not bang average.
57?
Do not call that bang average.
The average is 48, but the average is...
You're about to see bang average and below average in a minute.
Well, the Gameweek ranks 2 million. You combine that with teams that have got loads of inactive people, that have teams that have players transferred out. I think it's relatively average. Gameweek rank of 2.2 million. Made a -4. I have no idea who those players were. It tells me. Son and Chilwell came in for Rashford and Gabriel this week, apparently. No, that was this week. Hold on.
Did you sell Son for Rashford? I think you might have sold Son for Rashford.
I sold Son for Rashford and I sold Martial for Ings. So
okay,
it goes both ways. I made a good transfer, I made a bad transfer. 57 points. Could have gone better. Captained Rashford. I don't really want to make too much mention of how poorly Harry Maguire defended because he had 10 men for most of his game. But I will make counterpoints of how shocking Liverpool defended with 11 men. And Virgil van Dijk is a fraud. But Van Dijk is probably better than Maguire. It's just Van Dijk's also pretty terrible. But yeah, I mean, Wilson had a good game. Salah had a good game. Well, good goal scoring game. It's just a shame he couldn't score another 8. But yeah, it's just one of those weeks, really. A lot of ones. I mean, Digne getting a 1. I don't think Everton should be conceding 2 goals to Brighton. I had 2 Leicester players, Justin and Mendy, 3-0 to West Ham. I'm now beginning to think that West Ham actually might be not half bad this season if they start making substitutions. Sorry, and playing their strongest team, which I believe they've now got set in stone. It's just one of those things. I mean, any other week, if there's not that red card for Martial, or there's a red card as well to Lamela, which it should have been. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. I don't know if Lamela's had a ban or suspension for also raising his arms, but any other day that could have gone it could have gone different. Rashford could have ended up scoring a hat trick in a game that was stretched with 10 men each side, or 11 men each side. So, yeah, I mean, 57. I mean, I've already got in trouble for calling it bang average, but I don't think it was the best week, and it could have been improved so much if I'd have kept Son, if I'd have captained someone else. It's one of those things, really. Just got to move on.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I would love 57 points. Jay, would you like to tell us about your team, buddy?
First off, cheers to Nihal Kulkarni for
Thanks,
the
Nihal.
$1.99 super chat. So thank
Cheers,
you very
buddy.
much. He's got a question of Che against Chelsea, ? Have to hold him for a week. Sad face, so we can talk about that in a second, but I will just quickly go over my side. Managed to get 42 points, which is 6 below the average. No hits taken though. Only Seiss, Salah and Calvert-Lewin did anything for me. Held on to Timo Werner. Probably going to do it again, which could be me being a glutton for punishment there. But I just feel like Southampton might play the high line, which could benefit Werner. Pulisic should be back, hopefully. So I'm hoping to see a better Chelsea. Werner's on his last leg, though, and he is a planned transfer out. I'm just not sure it will happen this week. It does depend on the news with De Bruyne. If I think he's not going to play, then I might move it on to Son. Transfer from De Bruyne to Son. I've not used any of my transfers yet. And yeah, the team, there is some weaknesses in the side. I'm not too happy with Podence anymore. I feel like he might be a rotation risk. Just hasn't impressed me since I brought him in. He did, of course, miss a game, but then didn't do very well against Fulham. And brought in Ings. That would have hurt a bit more if Jimenez had actually done anything.
Yeah.
So, the team just feels like I've got the wrong players around the likes of Salah and De Bruyne. Like right now, Spurs, Villa, West Ham, Everton, they're all doing really well, getting the attacking numbers. And I've got players from sides that aren't really getting the attacking numbers. And so it doesn't matter how good a player is, if the team aren't creating chances, then they're not going to be getting lots of points.
What's the plan with Foden, Jay?
Foden's someone I want to move on. The plan was to move Foden on to a Grealish, Rodriguez, or Barnes. So I've got to make a decision there. But
have you got that much in the bank? Or?
Yes, I've got enough to upgrade Foden all the way up to a Rodriguez.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, it was planned. I kept money in the bank because I knew I only wanted Foden for 2 weeks. So I suppose I have that going for me. But other than that, I feel like the team needs a lot of work, and I've used my wildcard. So not the greatest situation, but I did have that good game week 1. We're still at about 1.5 million rank.
Cool. Yeah, not bad, buddy. Brett, how did you get on?
Horrendous. Again, really, really bad. So in game week 3, I had 36 points, and I considered myself quite unlucky. And I thought, you know what, I quite like my team, so I just thought I'll give the team another chance. I'm not going to panic. And again, I liked my team for game week 4, and they got 37 points, 1 point more than in game week 3. Only 2 players returned points, McCarthy and Salah, which was basically the same as the game week before. I bought De Bruyne and Foden in 2 game weeks ago, double blanks from both of them. Captain De Bruyne for the last 2 weeks, 2 blanks. Harvey Barnes blank for the last 2. A goal ruled out in the last minute. I brought in Jimenez for Martial. Martial got sent off, so I earned 1 point there. Happy days. Jimenez blanked at home to Fulham. Really nice fixture, so that was disappointing. Mitrovic blanked, Werner blanked. It's 4 game weeks now, right? And I've had a front 3 for 4 game weeks, and only Mitrovic has scored in 1 game. So I've had, 12 strikers and only 11 blanks from 12 strikers.
God, that's madness.
Yeah, just got all the wrong players, really. I think that the worst part has been that, these very close 50-50s, I didn't imagine them being so costly.
Yeah.
So let's say like Werner over Calvert-Lewin, for example. Not that Calvert-Lewin was a consideration of mine, but that's one difference in striker and the difference between like 35 points or something, 30 points. At the start of the season, I was deciding between Son at 9 million or Martial at 9 million. Son's on 45 points, Martial's on 5. That 150-50 is a game week, a score, 40 points difference, and I only scored 37. So that's literally someone who went Son over Martial is literally a game week ahead of me already.
Let's not talk about Son.
There's no getting around it. He's been on such form.
He has, yeah.
Not in the 2 weeks that I owned him.
He was in form for that half against Newcastle.
Yeah, I think that the biggest downfalls for me, captaincy has been a big part. So I put a tweet out earlier that people that captained Salah in game week 1 scored 40 points. And people that have captained Aubameyang, De Bruyne have scored 32 points. So that 40 points from Salah in game week 1 has outscored my 4 captains so far. And yeah, I mean, Werner's been disappointing. I've got no Everton and no Spurs, and that's been costly. I didn't trust Everton. I wasn't that bothered about them to begin the season. They have royally punished me. And Spurs, I didn't think they had that many goals in them. I thought they might, get a couple, but not scoring 5 and 6 in 2 different games. So yeah, very fine margins, but hugely costly. And I just feel a bit lost at the moment. I don't know what to do. I haven't used the wild card. It's tempting. But I just feel like if I use the wild card now and, go all in on Villa and West Ham and Spurs and Everton, the Premier League's so unpredictable, they could end up being the off-form teams next week. And then I've got it completely wrong again. So I'm just like, you know what? I hate my team, but maybe I'll just do nothing because I don't know what to do. I said to you, Nim, on the phone, like, that movie Space Jam where the basketball players, they lose their powers.
Yeah.
I feel like that, someone that I just don't know what I'm doing anymore. Dreadful last season, 3.3 million this season. I don't know. I'm going to try and stay positive, but I just don't know if I can.
The thing is,
I know it could be worse, Nim. I know it could be worse.
So many really good managers with better records than I could dream of are also having absolute stinkers at the start.
Yeah. And the way to look at it, I guess, is you're saying in 4 game weeks, people who had Salah captain and whatnot would be a whole game week ahead of you. That just goes to show in 4 game weeks time with a good run by next international break, you could have flipped it on its head entirely, so
one really good captaincy call can change everything.
Exactly.
Just really quickly as well, because Simon in the chat says that his wife's zombie team is currently outscoring him.
Doesn't surprise me.
And
hi Simon.
He says he's very emotional about it. Basically my brother has never played FPL, but he signed up this year because he knows I do a YouTube channel. And in his game week 1 team after the deadline, he sent it to me and it had 5 Man United and City players. He had 5 blankers and I felt so bad for him. And he's beating me. He had 5 blankers in game week 1 and basically he just put the captain on Vardy and he scored that hat-trick away to Man City. And my brother is beating me and he hasn't done any changes, so that just
this season is going to play into first timers and I don't call them casuals because that sounds wrong, but you know what I mean, like it's just going to play into that style of play. I think it's not going to be for the hardcore stats, that's because this is a season unlike any other. So I genuinely believe that it's going to go in the favour of people who are are a little less kind of caught up in, I won't have that player for this reason and I won't have that and I need that player because of these stats and all that sort of stuff. I think it is literally going to be just, I don't want to say FPL's all luck because it's not, but I think it's definitely going to have a big element this season. I think I sent you guys a couple of pictures of some people in my league, who are, who've only just joined and they're smashing it out of the park as well. One of the girls in my league, she's never played before and had 2 100 game weeks already. So, it's just, I think it just will be one of those seasons. But yeah, I was hoping to forget about a terrible game week 4 forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But as I'm here, I'll discuss it a little bit. It was truly awful, and I got one less point than Jay, so I got 41 points. So yeah, not, sorry, bud, on Brett, but not quite as bad. But yeah, not brilliant either.
You can have it, don't worry. That's fine. You can be the worst one. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll basically just say who did well for me, as it's a lot less, a lot less than who did bad for me, really. Sace picked me up 8 points from his clean sheet, bonus points and minutes played. Salah bringing it with the 2 goals for most people, to be honest, and his 13 points, and Calvert-Lewin with the goal. And that's it, basically. I had KDB as my captain and Salah as my vice captain, so that means the captaincy curse has returned. And yeah, I was one of those people that sold Son for the second time ahead of his haul. So that doesn't feel great. As a content creator, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to do well and do the right thing, and I am not really a risky FPL manager in terms of my picks. I would say I do go a bit batshizle sometimes and take a lot of hits. However, I don't tend to get rid of a player for no reason. So just hopefully goes to show how much that whole Mourinho thing got into my head with Son, because it definitely, wouldn't have been a transfer out for me at all. I mean, he was going nowhere, to be honest with you. At the point we were told that it was just tactical, that he went off at half time, I was like, no worries, like, this is fine, I'm good with this, he can just sit on my bench or whatnot. And the more the week went on and the more chatter there was, and speaking to some top injury people that I trust in and really respect, they believed that he just wouldn't be risked with a hamstring injury. And we hadn't seen him in any training pictures, which is always a good one for me. If we see a training picture, I think, okay, fair enough. Like, it doesn't matter what the manager's saying, there's a likelihood this player is going to start. And no training picture kind of made me think, oh, maybe there is some truth in this, I was duped. I was just full on duped by it. And I feel stupid because there was a bit of me that just kind of thought, well, you know what, just leave it. If he doesn't play, you will only get 1 or 2 points off the bench. I went risky with it. If I'd gone Rodriguez, it'd be a completely different story here now. It's because I went Barnes that I think it's as bad as what it is, because Barnes got me the same as what playing Anguissa would have done, for instance. So that's where the real hurt comes, I think. And the fact that it was that whole VAR call offside thing that made it even more frustrating. Not that it would have, he would have got as much as Son, but it just wouldn't have necessarily hurt as much, I don't think. It's been pretty awful. He is back in my team now because I have always said to you guys that I'm not scared to go back to a player if I feel like I've done the wrong thing. Yeah. And I felt like I did the wrong thing getting off of him the first time he hauled. And I, and since the start of the season, I've been saying, Son. So it feels like I get him in and he's going to stay there now. And he literally won't be leaving my team again now until he gets all 6 of the goals that I've missed out on.
Is he your captain this week, Nick?
Probably not. I think that West Ham team does concern me just because of how good they've looked, and that's not necessarily anything against Son and Spurs and all that. It's just and me not trusting him. It's got nothing to do with any of that. It's literally just that every time I've watched West Ham, I just feel like they look really good so far this season. So I am tempted by it, but it's been on Salah since I made the Sun transfer on Monday night, and it's still on Salah now. So, we'll
The moral
see.
of this season so far for you is that Ben Dinner is a fraud, I'm hearing.
I did not say Ben's name, did I?
You said the tried
Where's
and
that
trusted
mute
injury
button?
people.
Where's
and
Kurt's
he's-
mute button? Mute Kurt.
Quick.
All I heard, sorry.
Anyway, the Sunny Six has been activated, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So let's head over to the questions, and let's answer our super chat question first. Jay, if you want to just ask it again, please, buddy.
Yeah,
because I
so-
missed it.
Quickly, sorry, Jay, just really quickly, people in the chat as well are saying, look, breathe, it's a long season. So yeah, I think we just need to shake it off now and be more positive for the rest of the stream, just so
Yeah.
get the
the
positive vibes
spirit.
going. So yeah, carry
Well,
on.
I'm going to be positive because of the super chat. So thank you,
Yay!
Nihal.
Woohoo.
But he's asking about Che against Chelsea. He has to hold him for a week, and he's got a sad face at the end of that. So I think talking generally about Southampton-Chelsea game would be a good go here, and featuring Che in that. And I personally think that game could go either way. I do think Chelsea might get better defensively now that they've changed goalkeeper. Chilwell may have a foot injury though, and I think Chilwell is a big improvement on that defence. But I'm kind of hoping Southampton play a high line and we get some goals from Chelsea. Che Adams for me has always been a player I'm not too keen on his finishing. I think if you compare him to Danny Ings doesn't always get the stats, but can have one or two chances and score a great goal. Really good at scoring, a bit like Vardy. They can sometimes outdo their stats and score goals when they don't have the underlying stats to match. Whereas I think Che Adams is one of those that can get a lot of chances. I just think he's a bit erratic in front of goal, which is why I never went for him, even though a lot of people were touting him at the beginning of the season. So I would like to get rid of him if I had him, but I think there's definitely a chance he could get something. He's had the chances, and it could be one game week, 2 game weeks where he has a really good goal scoring record. So I wouldn't be too negative if you have to hold him, but I would look to move him on because I think there's a lot of good options in that price bracket now.
Who do you think, Jay, if you were to move him on? Who would you
I'd
go
be
for?
looking at Watkins potentially.
Yeah,
I like Callum
are
Wilson
they both
too.
5.9? Is Che
I think
5.9 now? Or?
I
Around
think
that
so.
price.
Let me try. I know Watkins is. Che Adams.
Sorry, I put you on the spot now.
is 5.8, so Che Adams is 0.1 cheaper.
2 drops, okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah. I'd say Wilson has been doing great at Newcastle.
Yeah.
I don't Maupay I really still don't know how to say his name because I don't like him. So I never envision getting Brighton striker on my side, even if he goes on a great goal scoring record. But he is someone that is playing in the Brighton side that are very attacking, and he does seem to be able to find the back of the net, even if he then might go and get a red card afterwards. So I think there are other options out there than Che Adams.
Yeah, no, I did have him. I sold him on my wild cards, much for the reasons you said, really. He looks so promising, but then he's not really delivering yet. I think he's fine for this game week, probably. And then, yeah, like Jay said, I would be looking to move him on. What about you, Graham?
Is this in regards to Che Evans?
Yeah.
Evans, sorry, I was just reading the chat. Yeah, I'd say give up on him. I'm hearing a lot of talk about enough's enough with him. So yeah, I would get rid of him.
Cool.
Yeah, he mentions in the chat Antonio. So Nahal actually mentions Antonio. So obviously a consideration.
Yeah, as soon as the fixtures become better, I want to get some sort of West Ham player.
I
But the
feel
thing
like
is-
Antonio is going to score against Spurs. He like he did,
Yeah.
I think, last season.
He likes
Maybe-
scoring
I don't
against the
know-
big clubs.
I don't know whether he scored against them just once or in 2 different games, but yeah, West Ham always turn up against Spurs, and they're already in good form, and Spurs just look very poor defensively. So yeah, Antonio could be a good shout, I think, even with these difficult fixtures.
Well, he's
Certainly
already
after
proven
them.
that, hasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. Great goal he scored the last week as well, with that quickly taken free kick in the box. That was class. That.
Yeah.
It's the
That's
greatest
good.
ever 1-2 I've ever seen. I've never seen a 1-2 with the two passes stretch about 120 yards.
Yeah, the quality goal that.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. What about you, Kurt? Thoughts
Che
on
Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Never been interested in Che Adams. I think he's pants. I was about to use a very colourful word. No, he's a championship striker at best. He's a good championship striker. Although I did say that I have been saying that about Bamford, and Bamford looks in good form this season. But before that, Bamford's the sort of striker that if you looked at him, any other team, you'd say he's fantastic for the championship. He's just a bit below the level to be a Premier League striker. That's where I stand on Che Adams. Not really much else to be said about it. He's a cheaper option for a Southampton attacker, but Ings is scoring. Ings is going to be more favourable. Ings is got the luck with him at the moment.
I'm interested to know why he says that he has to hold him. I'm guessing because he's already made a transfer, maybe.
Or injuries, maybe. Or...
Either way, I mean, although I got a few laughs, I did say I'd make 25 minuses so far this season. Currently, I've already, excluding the wild card, took a -4 the last 3 weeks.
Nice.
It means you get your points, and you're taking a -4 to get someone else better in. Do it.
Yeah, I'm not adverse to taking hits at all if it makes things better. Okay, so FPL Fluffy asks, what are we going to do with City? So I think it's a good time to have a little chat about KDB and that whole situation. So Jay, you kind of touched upon that a little bit with your team. Are you considering selling him on?
What, KDB specifically, or just City assets in general?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can talk about City in general, but I think it'd be a good idea to touch upon KDB.
I mean, if KDB has an injury, the issue I have with KDB is he's often a player that when he gets injured, it's possible for a re-injury to occur. And there's players in form that I could quite easily bring in for him and then think of a plan to bring KDB back if I need it. The thing with Man City options in general is they have been the top scoring side in the Premier League for the last at least 2 seasons, potentially longer than that. And I have to think that's going to change to not want some sort of Man City coverage. I think without a striker leading the line, I like them a little bit less than usual, because I don't really think Mahrez or Sterling is going to work as the number 9 for that side, but Sergio Aguero could be back anytime soon. So I think Man City is still a side.
I think he will get game time in Gameweek 5, but I'm not going to jump on until I know that for sure. But I think he will. I think Pep will push for it because he's got no other options.
Speaking of that, that's why I kind of like the idea of Harry Kane right now, because they're around the same price. Tottenham's Hotspurs have the fixtures now, then Man City have the fixtures when Tottenham's fixtures change.
I know, but didn't we do that whole thing with the whole Aubameyang KDB thing, and that didn't work out brilliantly, did it? Let's be honest.
I mean, Aubameyang wouldn't have worked out if you kept him either, really. He hasn't been amazing. So you got to try and play the game and get the players in at the right time. I know it doesn't always work, but the point of the game is to try and get the players in at the right time. If we get it wrong, we get it wrong. But that doesn't mean we don't keep trying. So
no, true.
I wouldn't say jump off all Man City, but I'm not too keen on Foden. Keeping Foden if there isn't a striker leading the line.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm not going to lie. I think after the whole Sun incident, I'm not mad keen to be like setting KDB on a kind of what if injury. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that whole Sun situation, I know that was more Jose than it was anything else, but
but Pep always tells us exactly what's going to happen.
yeah, exactly. But this isn't, we don't know, do we? That's the thing. And I think my concern is that I know that the output of KDB is much better when Aguero is on the pitch. And with him imminent to be back, if KDB is literally just been tired, like it is, kind of being discussed at the moment, rather than it actually being like a proper injury, rather than like an injury soreness, then I'm not keen to rush him out and make the same mistakes as I have done with Son and watch an absolute, car crash of having sold KDB and he ends up, setting Aguero up for 3 goals or something ridiculous like that. So maybe the whole Son situation has made me more cautious than necessary, really. But I do want to kind of wait and see, I think, on the KDB one. For me, I don't think, unless I hear something really definite, I don't think I'll be selling him ahead. It would be for a hit for me anyway, but I still don't think I'll be selling him. And as for City assets, I do think they will be a popular choice again soon. I don't think, that City will end up staying, like this very long. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Brett, what are your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to wait until like Friday or Saturday to try and, get as much information about this De Bruyne situation as possible. And like Jay said, if it came out that it was a worse injury than expected, then he's an easy move to Son for me, which is quite convenient. But the likelihood is, the likelihood is I'm going to keep him.
I'll have Son for ages before he returns these 6 goals of prep buys in.
That's true, yeah. Realistically, like you said, Nim, if it remains that he's just a slight doubt and the injury isn't that bad, then I can't see myself selling De Bruyne. Of course, I'm more pessimistic about him now because I've got him. If I didn't have him, I'd be like, oh my God, it's De Bruyne, he's a must-have. It's frustrating that he's blanked twice, but I mean, even in the last game, he hit the post with a free kick. If that goes in, it's a different perspective as your captain.
Agreed.
So yeah, I'm going to keep De Bruyne most likely. And with Man City, like the moment you, if I was to go without them, with them, once they have one big game and they, turn over a team 5-0, you instantly want them back again. Oh my God, they're on form. Quick, get Man City players again. With other teams, other than maybe like Liverpool as well, they might have a fantastic game, but it's not like, oh my God, I got to shoehorn them all into my team straight away. With De Bruyne, or Man City, if I got rid of them and they had one good game, I'd be like, oh my God, I have to get them back in now. So I just think, I'm just trying to be patient. I'm not going to get rid of De Bruyne, I don't think. Foden, fair enough. He's more of a concern. I don't know about Foden really. It's at 6.6. There's Grealish at 7.1, who just is pivotal, nailed, possibly on penalties. There's Rodriguez, obviously a bit more. I don't think Foden is looking the best option now. I'm still not sure about Sterling either. But I just think I'd like to have at least one Man City player like De Bruyne or at least Sterling, because when they can turn it on, you instantly want them back. So I'm just hoping that De Bruyne will be a good set and forget, really. I don't want to try and get too clever this season. I hope that he just starts consistently doing well again, so I haven't got to think about it,
Cool. Sorry, Wales just scored.
Oh, nice.
Just checking. Okay, so is FPL Fluffy also asks, is it time to drop our 6 million defence or keep players like Robbo and Trent? I know it's early in the season, but still, haha, he says. Graham, 6 mil defence, Robertson and Trent. What's your thoughts, buddy?
My thoughts on Robertson and Trent are they will come good once Liverpool get Thiago Alcantara in that midfield, controlling possession, controlling how much of the ball Liverpool have, and the fact that Liverpool are such a great team going forward, they'll come good again, which means Trent and Robbo can get forward as well and probably carry on doing what they were doing more of last season. Obviously, Jordan Henderson as well, haven't forgot about him. It seems since he went missing that they're leaking a lot more goals. I think that's been talked about.
What is his situation, Graham? Do we know if he's out for a long time or anything? Or?
I'm absolutely not sure on that, but I think he might.
Back.
Yeah, I think he might be.
Didn't he play for England as well?
I'm not going to
Oh,
lie,
shit.
true England fan here. I didn't watch any of the England games.
But
Well,
I'll have
Trent's
a quick look
benched,
now.
isn't he, tonight?
I know. I saw Henderson playing one of them, and he wasn't wearing number 1, so I assumed it was Jordan Henderson. Unless Dean decided he's a ball-winning midfielder now.
Okay. According to Premier Injuries, he's not got an injury anymore.
There you go. He's
Yeah,
back
that's
in
a
the
good
league
point,
now.
Graham. That because I felt the same with Thiago as well, because he controls the tempo of the game. Even though he's not a defender or anything, that will help the defense because it'll control the tempo and slow the other teams down a bit. And if they have possession, they're not going to concede as many goals. So I do think that's a good point, and Henderson obviously is a big part of that as well. So yeah, what was the actual question then? Is it just about what we think?
Is
about?
it time to drop our 6 mil plus defence
Okay.
or keep players like Robson and Trent?
What were you going to sort of finalise on, Graham? Have you got them at the moment, or?
No, I don't actually. I don't
Okay.
have either of them. No. I'm feeling, because of the start and all these goals that have been leaked, I
Yeah.
don't think it's crucial on the defence at the moment. I'm focusing more on midfield and attack. So I'm in that sort of feeling mode.
No, I can understand that for sure. It makes sense. I still think I had this chat with Glenn on his channel, so shout out to Glenn at Everything Arsenal. And he was the same as you, Graham. He hasn't got them and he feels fine about it. You know, he said that for the price that we're paying, 7+ million, you know, they're a bit shaky defensively because there's lots of penalties around. Obviously, Alisson injured, which is huge. With Adriani was at fault for one of the goals the other night. So that's not good. I still think that one for me, I'd still want one of them. You know, I still think they're going to be very good value. And again, it's another headache that I have to think about if I get rid, because it's a very hard bracket then. If you just go all 4.5s and 5s, it's very hard to then bring in the likes of Rob or Trent again, you know. It's not easy to get them back in unless you're on a wild card. So I still think one of them is still a very good option, personally. I'm going to stick with Trent. I would probably go Robbo over Trent now if I was on a wild card, just because he's getting in the box a lot more and looks a bit more threatening at the moment. But Trent will still come good, I think. He's still putting so many balls into the box. He'll still rack up the assists. And longer term, their fixtures until Christmas or New Year is still pretty good. So I'm going to keep Trent, I think.
Okay. Just to say, James, we'll note down your question, buddy, when we do the quick fire a bit later on. Kurt,
Yes,
you had some strong views on Liverpool defence earlier. Is there anything else you'd like to add for that before I move
Diabolical. Liverpool's defence has been shambolic for a good couple of years now. But the big saying is the best form of defence is attack. No, it's not, but it is for Liverpool. It is, and that's the reason they've got away with it, because teams were so scared of Firmino playing the ball into Mane and Salah, the rip-roaring counter-attacks that would take teams apart in 15 seconds. They didn't move players forward. Now you take one player out of midfield, Virgil van Dijk looks like Harry Maguire. And that's not a good thing anymore. That used to be quite a good thing. Now it's not a good thing. They're awful. There's 10. Look, you look at the weekend that Man United lost 6-1 and Liverpool lost 7-2. Everyone, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever, was laughing at Maguire. He's shambolic. He's terrible. Yet, you didn't see one person laughing at Virgil van Dijk, who had 11 players on his team, and they still conceded 7 against a worse team. This Tottenham side is drilled by a very, very talented manager. This Aston Villa side escaped relegation in the last game of the season, the previous year. There's levels. And Van Dijk is very good in the air. He's very commanding. He's not the world-class talent people thought he was. And now that's been a bit exposed. All of a sudden, maybe this is, all teams in the end, all good teams have a good run, and then they just sort of dip off. Liverpool have to dip off at some point. There's no way teams can work with that sort of intensity. It happened to Barcelona. It's happened to, I would say Bayern Munich, but there's literally no other team that bothers to turn up in that league. Dortmund as well. You look at the way Dortmund play, it's a good example, and then they fell off. You look at Man City, Pep Guardiola won the league, and all of a sudden, we may as well just give up down tools for 7 years until Pep leaves. And they're not looking like the world-class talent they were. They've dipped off. Liverpool will dip off again this season. I just think again, there will be people arguing against me, and they are fully welcome to. This is, my opinions are never, well, no Salah, for example. When I started that movement, it wasn't exactly the most popular phrase of the season. That was probably the only person saying it. I'm probably the only person saying this now, but
Well,
Liverpool
I think I do remember saying right at the beginning that I don't think Liverpool will be as good defensively this season as they were.
I think
No,
we got
this
to give
season.
credit to Villa as well. That Villa side came out with a game plan and took advantage of the
credit to Villa,
weakness.
but goodness Christ, if Villa had took their chances, they'd have gone in double figures.
And
They're
not the Villa
worrying.
from last year. They're not the relegation candidates.
Neither Liverpool aren't the Liverpool of last year either.
It's that high line, isn't it, that they play?
It's what Southampton messed up with, the high line. Teams are figuring out the high line.
But the one thing I will give them I will give Liverpool a bit of slack off for is that unfortunately they've got Magikarp in goal, who does nothing apart from splash about and look pointless. Jesus Christ, how on earth that man was ever a Premier League footballer, a first choice goalkeeper at a Premier League club. Lord Almighty, I have no idea how West Ham was still in the Premier League whilst he was there. The bloke's useless. You say, by the way, there's someone charging in on you 50 yards away. He panics and kicks it into his own net. The bloke's useless. So I'll give Liverpool a bit of credit. With Alisson in goal, they might have lost only 6-2, but even still, it was still rubbish. If I had Liverpool defenders, they'd be gone. I think the entire season... I put Liverpool outside the top 4 this season in my Premier League predictions. There's a reason for that. And at the moment, it's paying true with 5 games in, granted, but Liverpool have not looked good at all at the back this year. From the first game against Leeds, where Van Dijk made 2 cock-ups, to the game against Aston Villa, when everyone decided, this will be a weekend off. We don't need to win this game.
So who's a defence that you would trust then? If we're not going to trust Liverpool for clean sheets, who are you going to trust?
That's the thing at the moment. There's far too many goals being scored for me to trust any defence for clean sheets. I'd say maybe even looking at form, once the fixtures get a bit better, someone like, what's his name? Cresswell from West Ham. Because West Ham against teams that are around them, all of a sudden they look a different breed. That's the only one I can suggest for clean sheets. It'd have to be attacking returns. Legitimately,
actually, if we're looking at clean sheets, then Aston Villa have had 2 game weeks of clean sheets.
Aston Villa and Everton have got the best 2 defences in the league. That just about says it all in terms of goal. I think joint 4th best league in the defence in the league is Sheffield United, and they haven't even got a point yet. That just about says it all. This league is bonkers.
Southampton.
Exactly.
Since I sold them.
Southampton, exactly. Since I don't have McCarthy.
Yeah.
I would be getting rid of any defenders that don't have attacking returns, aren't on set plays, aren't on anything. So for me, Luca Digne is on very thin ice because he doesn't look as if he's going to be as much involved this year. So he's on thin ice at 6 million. I brought Chilwell in because I think Chelsea can improve, but again, absolutely shambolic against West Brom. I was watching that down the pub after football, and my goodness me, it was again woeful. Thiago Silva, well, let's not mention him. That was poor. Apart from that, I'm going 4.5. I don't see any other expensive defenders worthy yet.
Have you used your wild card yet, Kurt?
Yeah, I used it game week 2. Okay. It was planned. It wasn't through a choice or forcing it. It was planned. So I had heavy on players that weren't Man United, Man City, and then I thought once Man United, Man City come back, they'll tear it up. And yeah, that was that was good. That went well.
What about you then, Jay? Have you got Liverpool defenders?
I have Trent.
Okay.
So I have Trent.
Are you worried or?
Not yet, purely because I would always prefer for Alisson to be in goal over Adrian.
Yeah, we had this last season as well, didn't we?
I do think a good midfield really helps a defence, though. And I think, like's already been said, I think Thiago and Henderson could make a difference as far as how many goals they could potentially be conceded. And both Trent and Robertson have the potential to score or get assists, and sometimes do it more than once in a game. So I do still like them, but outside of them, I do have Seiss, who's not 6 million up, but he is at 4.5.
Yeah.
And Wolves have still kept, as far as memory going, it's 2 clean sheets, I think.
Yeah.
And they do have some attacking options. I think Semedo could be a look. He was quite advanced against Fulham. did have a chance.
Cristiano's got coronavirus, so 90% of the Wolves first team is going to be out.
They just have to pass a test, and then I don't think they have to isolate after that.
Okay, I wasn't.
Test.
So I wasn't sure with the isolating, because I'm pretty sure Cavani's still isolating, isn't he?
Yeah, so I think for general public, because it's harder to get a test, you have to isolate the full time if you've been in contact. Whereas I think the footballers are getting tests quite quickly. I think that is why Souček played game week 1 as well. Because as soon as you pass the test, as long as you've been isolating from the point of the test, I believe you can then play. But I don't know for definite. I'd wait on press conferences for definite.
Yeah.
Because, there's the situation with Ronaldo. I think there's other players that potentially could have to isolate as well. So definitely pay attention to the press conferences. But yeah, I'm not too concerned about the defence just yet. I think hopefully Klopp and Liverpool would address the issue from that Aston Villa game. And with someone like Henderson in, which I think Van Dijk should have done in that game, someone like Henderson might go, look, lads, this high line, maybe let's pack it in for a good 20, 30 minutes to stop leaking all these goals, which they just didn't do. So they kept leaking the goals.
Yeah.
So I want to see what they play like with Henderson back in the side, because I think he is a leader there at the club. I thought Van Dijk was questionable now after that performance. But yeah, I'm still going to hold them for now. I think they will come good.
Yeah, I just feel like, I mean, they shipped 3 against Leeds as well, didn't they? So it doesn't look great. 3 against Leeds, 7 against Villa. But I just feel like to concede 7 goals is such an anomaly. And at the same time, it's such a shocking result that surely that would fire them up to respond in the next few weeks. Like Van Dijk is such you can tell he's so competitive and such like a winner and always demands, full effort every game. So it was a bit shocking to see them concede that many. But I'm just hoping they're going to respond after that, Away to Everton is not an easy fixture. But in recent history, I think they're often quite unpredictable, maybe low scoring. So I'm hoping maybe there's a clean sheet chance there. Calvert-Lewin will probably score. But then at home to Sheffield United, sorry, Brian, but that one I fancy for a clean sheet in game week 6. Unless Brewster scores against his old team. That should be typical. So yeah, I'm going to stick with them for now. I'm hoping the 7 goals conceded will just spark them into life a little bit and respond.
Oh, okay. Well, we've got a fair few questions here just to rattle through. So try and kind of be a bit quicker on these ones. But at Dazzle at UFC says, what is Bale and Pulisic's potential, please? So Graham, are you keeping an eye out on Bale, thinking about Pulisic?
Bale, proven talent. If we can keep him off the golf course, absolutely. He'll have no trouble coming back to the Premier League. He knows it already. He's been in La Liga. We all know Bale, so he'll be brilliant. Pulisic, he's proven himself as well. Captain America, full of pace compared to Hazard at times. And I think he is that sort of real attacking option at Chelsea. So both very good players. Sorry, what is the question? Is there a specific question?
No, just asking if they, what's their potential basically. So that covers it pretty well.
Yes.
Kurt, are you kind of thinking about Bale or Pulisic in any way?
Not Pulisic. I just think there's a bit more rotation risk. But if Pulisic comes in and has a good few weeks, but then sort of drops off, you expect him to sort of maybe be subbed off a bit early or maybe be benched because they've got decent attacking options, Chelsea. With Bale, sort of similar to sort of like a Ronaldo, Messi type thing, any point, and when especially in his last few seasons for Tottenham, the amount of 1-0s they won through Bale just getting the ball, bit of a trickery here and there, sprinkle a bit of magic fairy dust, and then boom, somehow he scored from absolutely nowhere, gets the ball about 50 yards out, cuts in, shoots, scores. I just think there's magic in his feet.
Yeah.
So I would, but the only problem is that I have Son. Son looks good. Yeah. There is a chance that I just get rid of my Man United players and go Son, Kane, Bale. Because I was going to go triple Man United, but after Man United getting spanked 6-1, maybe I went to the wrong Jose Mourinho previously or currently managed team.
Interesting. Okay, Brett, thoughts on Bale, Pulisic?
Yeah, I'll try and be really quick. So obviously both exciting prospects for sure. Pulisic, his post-lockdown form, like he was, insane. He was so good.
Yeah.
And because he's got this, because he hasn't started the season, obviously he's so low owned at 3%, and his price keeps dropping. I'm like, yeah, keep going down, keep going down. He's 8.3 now. It's a nice price point for Pulisic. Once he gets in the team and gets going, I can see him doing really well. So he's 100% on the radar. I would say more so. I'm very excited about Bale. For nostalgic purposes, but and being Welsh and everything, I'm so excited for him. I can just see Pulisic being a bit more of a viable option in the shorter term, like sooner. Because Bale, I'm still unsure about his fitness. I don't know if when he's going to be ready. He could be ready next week. We don't know. Is he going to be good enough to dethrone Son in terms of an FPL option? Is it?
I think it's going to be very interesting to see that dynamics, because for me, like when I think of Bale, I think of what he does in that Wales team, and like we struggle, a lot without him, and then he can just produce something out of nothing, and I'm like all for that excitement with having him in the Premier League again. But what does that impact on how many goals Kane gets? How many, will that take away from Kane? Will it take away from Son? Will it mean that Son scores more? Will it mean that Kane scores more and he ends up being more of a creator? We just no idea how they're going to gel together yet, have we really? So it's going to be really interesting to see how that one develops for sure. Yeah. Jay, any thoughts on those two before I move on to the next question?
I'd say they're both on my watch list purely because I think as soon as both come into the sides, that is when we can watch those two teams, Chelsea and Spurs, and try and figure out which piece of the puzzle we need in our FPL sides. For instance, Kane, I think the FPL Wire by late riser Zofar and Becker, they literally have donned Kane De Bruyne, because right now he's getting all the assists dropping deep, and that could benefit the likes of Son and Bale so much, because we both know they've got pace. Both of them have pace, and could easily get him behind the lines with Kane putting them through. So I think it's about waiting and seeing for both for me, because just the whole setup of both sides could change with these players coming in. Chelsea more so, because you've not just got Pulisic coming in, you've also got Ziyech.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about both, but I just don't know which one will be the best option and which one will be the best option from their sides.
This is one of the reasons why I'm still a bit reluctant to play the wild card, because there's so many players that we haven't seen yet and all these other options, and I'm like, shall I just not do anything this week and just wait and try and be a bit more patient, Yeah.
I think if I hadn't wanted to buy some back, then I wouldn't have done anything either, don't think, at all. I was just circumstances there, unfortunately, but I hadn't planned to do anything, and roll to here. But obviously that didn't work out. Okay, quickly then, just a quick name answer. Grealish versus Barnes versus Trossard. Graham, which one?
Grealish next to Barkley, playing Ollie Watkins up front.
Okay, Kurt?
Grealish.
Okay, cool. Brett?
Yeah, sorry to follow. It's a no-brainer. It's Grealish for sure for me.
Jay?
Grealish.
Okay.
Nim?
I quite like the look of Trossard. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Just to go against the crowd here. I think that Brighton team looking, pretty decent at the moment.
Don't get me wrong, I think Trossard's a great option, and he does come in at slightly cheaper.
Yeah. So I guess it depends on what you
Is he
get for the extra money.
6? I think
6, I think.
6.
Ooh,
yeah,
decent.
Yeah. Okay. At Octavius would like to know: do you think Calvert-Lewin will drop off now after getting Player of the Month and possible essential status from official like Pookie done last season? he said, plus I think Brett is the imposter. He looks pretty sus. I think that's from us playing Among Us on Twitch the other day.
Always
so,
blame Mig.
Good times.
Always blame Mig.
Savagery.
Yeah, it was savage. We'll definitely be doing that again soon, guys. So make sure you're going over and check out our Twitch channel for sure. So yeah, Calvert-Lewin, quick yes/no summary. Do we think he's going to drop off? Jay, what are your thoughts on Calvert?
I mean, just to keep it one word, no.
No, you don't think he'll drop off?
No.
Okay, cool. Graham?
I think official can curse, but no.
Okay. Brett? You don't have him? Are you thinking of buying him? In which case, then we'll know he will be dropping off.
100%. Of course, I'm thinking to buy him. Yeah, for sure. I just don't know if it's worth it this week against Liverpool. I might wait. I might just give Werner one more chance against Southampton. I know Liverpool just shipped 7 goals, but it's still a tough
do
game.
that. Please do that.
But to answer the question, I don't think he's not going to have a hat-trick every game, of course.
No.
But the amount of chances he's getting, the quality that's around him, the positive aura around Everton, I can't see him slowing down much. No, unfortunately.
He'll slow down a bit, I think, but just not much.
Can he just blank for once, please? Just blank.
No, he's one of the few people that's scoring for me. Don't do this to me.
Please don't do that. Only, okay, I will let that happen, right? If everyone else in my team can score and my captain can get a brace. How's that? Is that a deal?
Yeah, deal.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, cool. Kurt, do you think Calvert-Lewin will drop off?
He will, but not to the extent of Pookie, because Pookie, he didn't have anything behind him, whereas Calvert-Lewin's got a lot of quality behind him. I do think, though, he will get to the point, a bit like sort of Vardy's breakout season for Leicester when he got those 11 goals. He will drop off. Maybe towards the end of the season, he'll get to the point where he's a goal every 2 games, maybe goal and assist every 3 games. It'll be a pretty consistent source of points throughout the season.
Okay, cool. Okay, at Ray, Ray would like to know, with Aguero scheduled for a late October return, does he feature in your transfer plans? Hypothetically, I am thinking to bring him and Konsa in for Robertson and Mitrovic end of the month, but we'll keep Trent, Salah and KDB. So what do we think? I think I can pretty much...
Is this Aguero?
Yes. Yes.
I'll get myself out of the way. No.
Okay, fair enough. I am definitely and am always definitely considering Aguero if fit. I have the chance to get him now if I want to, but I'm not going to. It would be for a -8 this week, and I don't think it's worth that without having seen him. But I can get to him in 2 moves at the moment with some spare cash, and I'm pretty happy with those possible 2 moves as well. So at the moment, he's in my plans. When you say the end of the month, I think he could potentially be a good shout by then, and probably doing the whole J thing, what he was talking about earlier with people being on Kane and then going to Aguero. I mean, I could do that if I wanted to. I'm just not sure if I want to kind of make the middle step with an extra transfer when it would mean selling Ings, who I'm hoping will, be able to do something for me in that spot. But yeah, Graham, are you considering Aguero at all?
No, I never like the fact he gets injured, but he is an explosive player at times. So when he does score, he can score hat-tricks, as you know. But then for long term, no, I'm not really looking at him.
Cool. And Brett?
Yeah, you mentioned like the end of October. And shortly after that, there is an international break there from the 7th to the 21st of November.
Yeah.
Just after that international break, where I would imagine he's probably back playing and fit again, there's a good turn of fixtures for Man City there. I know fixtures are a little bit, it doesn't really matter at the moment.
Yeah.
But, Burnley at home, Fulham at home, West Brom at home in 3 of 4 game weeks after the international break, There's some nice fixtures there. I do think there is a great opportunity with Aguero, because even though I won't look at him probably long term, he's a great person to bring in and captain one week if you're chasing, and he could just bounce you straight back into the mix, because he'll be so low owned at the time. So yeah, Aguero is such a legend. He's always like, I'm sure he'll make it into my team at one point this season. Like, he always
I
manages.
feel like my season started when Aguero is in it. So like literally there is this desperation just to have him in like this week so I can go, finally I'm playing FPL because Aguero is in my team. But I'm going to try and hold off until I've seen him at least once.
Yeah, I think that's probably sensible, with his fitness and getting rotated and whatever. Like, depends on Jesus' injury too. If he's out, then Aguero will start most probably. But there's something special about owning players. When you see Aguero with his little name and in your FPL team, there's something like, same with Kane, same with Salah. There's something about those players that do get you excited. So I'll always keep an eye on him.
Jay?
Aguero with Fulham and West Brom in close proximity as far as games go, fit. How could I not have him? A lot of my good seasons have been based off of having Aguero at the right time and captaining him. The amount of times I've captained him and got like 50 points in a game week. So yes, he's always part of my transfer thoughts. Even when injured, he could be injured for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, when is that 6 months? What fixtures come after that 6 months?
Exactly.
Like, he's explosive, and he's one of those that if you captain him at the right time, it suddenly can change your season. So
yeah. And my mum always has him in her team. Like, she's the sort of person that even when he's injured for 6 months, she like just puts him on her bench and then has him for like his first game back. Like, or she just plays him and he ends up getting 3 goals. And you're like,
comes on for 10 minutes and gets a hat trick.
Exactly. And you're like, no, damn it, woman. But yes, Ray, you are on the guest shortlist, my friend. Don't worry, we will have you on very soon. So don't worry about that. Cool. Okay, let's get a quick fire in then before we head on over to Jaffa's Corner, please.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you don't know what this one is.
Okay, right. So we've just got one from Simon, so I've got that written down, bud. So should we do a minute and a half for each question?
Yeah.
There's 5 of us. Right, so the first one is from James. We'll go to you first. You asked it a few times, James. Hey, Wildcats and Infria. I'm thinking of taking Bruno out, Bruno Fernandes. Who should I bring in for 10 million and under? Anyone want to jump in? Has anyone got Fernandes at the moment?
No.
I mean, I'm not sure I'd be so keen to get rid at the moment. He does seem to be chipping away, doesn't he, with the goals and things. But I can see he's a lot of money, I guess. So it gets you a bit more. It really depends on who else you've got in your team.
True.
With, like Son and Rodriguez.
Yeah, Son is the no-brainer if he hasn't, I think.
Yeah. But then again, maybe give it a week and wait and see what happens with Bale and all of that sort of stuff, possibly. Don't know what the other lads think.
Will anyone else keep him?
He's on penalties.
Have you got him? Haven't you?
I do have him, yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I would do is A, I'd bring in Bale for him, or B, now the tough games are out of the way, I'm serious again just because it's shiny, Wilfried Zaha. Gives you a bit of money, you can reinvest it elsewhere because that's a sort of 3.3 million difference there. So you can put that 3.3 million into Trent if you've gone clinically insane, or Aguero if you've gone moderately insane.
Oh, I'm only moderately insane.
Oh, yeah,
that's a step up for me.
Trent,
I will take that.
I'm clinically insane.
I'm keeping personally.
Yeah, Glenn mentioned him on the stream earlier. That the Zaha, great fixtures. Can't deny that for sure.
He didn't get his move. He won't do anything now.
Yeah, true. Just quickly to end then, Jay, Gray, do you sort of agree? What would you do with Fernandes?
I mean, I like the looks of Grealish, Rodriguez, if you want to save money as well.
Yeah, definitely. Great.
I'd keep him, see how he goes. If he keeps scoring, that allows you time to have a look at the likes of Bale or Son and then make the switch. But if he can keep ticking along, that's fine.
I'd argue Bruno Fernandes probably isn't the weakest point of most people's sides right now. So I'd say look at the weaker points.
It's a very good point because everyone's looking to the exciting, the Sons and Rodriguez because they're all in form.
Consistency is key.
But even though United are playing poorly, like Fernandes, like you say, has ticked over. Granted, 2 penalties, but that's what you have him for, isn't it? And they could get penalties, in the next couple of games. So
agreed.
Yeah, but we've given you some options to bring in there, but also an option to keep as well. Okay, so Glenn. From Everything Arsenal, hey man, he says his question is, which 3 strikers would you pick on a wild card? So we'll start with Graham. If you are on a wild card, which 3 strikers would you go for?
Definitely got to. Well, it's a Liverpool fixture. But high line. My mind is going racing now. It would be DCL, but then Liverpool fixture puts me off. Definitely Harry Kane though, 100% Harry Kane. And I did like the point you made about Aguero, and if he has got them 2 fixtures, Fulham and West Brom, definitely. I know that's a lot of money though. It's a lot of money as well. I go Kane, DCL, and let's give Brewster a little shout in there. See with his fixture.
Good money saver. Very good money saver. I like that pick. Yeah, Fulham at home next as well.
Yeah.
Kurt, 3 strikers on a wild card.
I'd go Wilson. Just purely because I think he's a decent option. I'd go Brewster because he's 4.5. And I've got Ings at the moment. I'm not entirely convinced on him, but it'd be half tempting to go for Kane.
Yeah, for sure. Jay?
Kane, DCL, Watkins.
Ooh,
nice.
Ollie.
Like that. Nim?
Yeah, to be fair, I think I would have picked the same 3 as Jay, although...
It depends if you have Grealish, of course, as well, but how much you want to go Villa, but those are the 3 that stand out.
I do want to give Jimenez a shout out, only because I know he hasn't looked great the last 2 game weeks, but he is one of those players that is usually pretty consistent and ticks away. And
stay patient with Jimenez, haven't you?
Yeah,
it's so easy to give up on, and then he punish you.
Exactly. He's the one player that I kind of didn't get in the last couple of weeks that I've been like, definitely getting Jimenez this week, and then something else has happened. Definitely getting Jimenez this week. Something else has happened. And every time I've done that, I've been waiting in those Wolves games for it to come up, goal Jimenez, because you just almost know it's coming. So I count myself quite lucky to have basically got away with not having him the last 2 games.
If I can give Werner 5 game weeks, people can give Jimenez a bit of time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think DCL and Kane are no-brainers on a wild card, those 2 for sure. And then the last one's tough because all the guys you mentioned are good options: Brewster, Callum Wilson, Watkins, Jimenez.
Glenn does mention no one picked Vardy.
Yeah,
but I think that's kind of because I'm trying to think realistically, because in my side I'm not going to have Kane and Vardy.
Yeah,
just a bit of budget. Yeah.
I think that's the only reason Vardy wasn't mentioned.
Yeah, no love for Maupay either, who could be a decent option as well. But
he does. I was going to feature him in a video. I don't know if I'm going to get time to do it now, but I just don't like him. I just don't like him.
He just comes across as a nasty old fella, so he's not making him much.
Like a personal level, or as a footballer?
Personal level. I don't like him.
Just not a fan of him. Okay.
Wait, who is this, by the way?
Neil Maupay.
Fair enough.
I think he's also the type of player that could ruin a game week by getting a red card.
He is coincidentally in that friends team who I was telling you about who got the 100 club twice this season. Just one of those players that, just us as content creators probably going to go, he's Maupay, but,
Now, Hal mentions Antonio as well, but I think that's just a fixtures thing for now. I think a lot of us will be interested in Antonio very soon.
Yeah, and Nahal says no love for Antonio as well. There's so many good budget strikers at the moment.
I wish we could have 5 this season.
Where's that all-out attack chip?
Yeah, where is it? I miss it, damn it.
This would be the perfect season for it.
I know. God, when would you use it though? Crikey.
Any game week. Only 2 defenders.
Every week now, that would be class. Yeah.
Can we just not have 2 wildcards? Can we just have 2 all-out attack chips instead?
Yeah, the first season that it would have been useful. For sure. It kind of leads us on to our final quick question then. So Simon the Bomb says, should he do Werner to Maupay? Is it time to do that move? So Graham and Kurt, like, have you considered Maupay at all? Any thoughts on him whatsoever?
My thoughts, same as J&O. I think he asked for trouble a little bit, and he's proven that already this season. I think it was a couple of penalty incidents where it bit him back. So not him. Werner, I think I made the move elsewhere. Otherwise, I probably would have got rid of Werner. But what I will say is Chelsea, they're getting all their better players back now. So it could be
Ooh,
time for Werner
James
to
got
shine.
sent off as well for you guys.
What, Reece James?
Yeah.
Wow,
Ooh.
94th minute, apparently.
Is it
Got
a
sent
friendly or a Nation League game?
Nations League.
Nations
Is it?
League.
Yeah, pretty feisty then.
That's what happens when you put Maguire in the defence. It all goes downhill.
Yeah, I think with Maupay they play Palace next, and that's a bit of a quite a
It's a derby.
feisty derby, you know.
That'd be
So
interesting.
he could either score or get a red card. in
You
that
could do
one.
both.
Yeah, he could. But there's a lot to like about Maupay. He's on penalties. We're seeing lots of those. Brighton are very good going forward so far. They've looked very attacking under Potter.
They look better, don't they?
They
Definitely.
look very good. If you're not me, he's a perfect transfer in. But I just can't bring myself to do it.
He's the one, like, to me, he's like the one that I don't get excited about, but he could be the sensible choice, you know? I don't actually consider him myself. I'd go to, like, Wilson. I always get drawn in by Wilson, or Antonio looks good.
Yes, please buy him instead of Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah. But Maupay, yeah, with Lamptey there, winning penalties too, you know? So it's a very, very good shout for sure. Like, I rate the move. Frees up a lot of cash as well, so can't fault it. I think that's pretty
Cool.
much it. So.
Okay, then. So we'll head on over to Jeffers' corner question at Austin66 UK asks, you can read one person's mind. Who would it be? There are some exclusions who you may not choose. The first is Pep or any other person who may have an influence over
wow.
FPL. Number two, Donald Trump or Boris Johnson. And number three, any spouses or partners. He says he's been trying to do that for years and it's impossible. So, if you could read one person's mind, who would it be? Okay. Who wants to take us on first? Graham?
I'll go for it.
Go
Harold
on, then.
Houdini. I want to know how he gets out them
Ooh.
boxes.
Nice. That's a good one. That's a good one. Kurt?
He said no Trump and Boris Johnson, didn't he?
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un.
Why did I know? Like, somehow I knew you would say that.
Jeff, we told you, don't ask us questions that Kurt could give an answer like this.
And Jeff's corner this week is what's 5 times 5? Kurt? Kim Jong-un. And, oh, for goodness sake, even that one.
Well, as I'm not sure Aguero is allowed on FPL grounds, I think I'd have to say the Queen. Just for the amount of things she must have seen and experienced, and the amount of things
See
that
if she swears.
Yeah, like the amount of things that she can't say out loud must be
You put
truly
effing sugar in my tea, Philip.
like it
I
would
reckon
just
she
be
farts as
truly
loud as the trumpet as well
fascinating.
behind the closed doors.
Yeah.
You
Brian
know.
says, so we can't choose Nim to find out who she's vice captain in.
Oh, very good. No, you just have to watch my videos, Brian.
Oh.
But what if you change your mind?
Where's my plug? Where's my plug? Okay, Brett.
I'm trying to think of one that, like, I could use strategically to win money or something, you know. I just, off the top of my
God
head, I
damn
can't think. Like on Deal or No Deal, like reading the banker's mind or something, like, or where the box is, you know, or something
Mystic
like
Meg.
that. I just can't think of a show right now when reading someone's mind would be advantageous, but maybe
Golden balls.
oh,
I don't think is
on
that
Who
still
Wants to
around?
Be-
But...
Oh, that's a good shout, mate. That's a very good shout. Reading their mind, because you could steal the money, yeah. Or if you're on like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the host can see the answer, right? Unless
True. I think they can see the answer, yeah.
They can, unless they've been asked on the lifeline, they can see the answer. So something like that. I mean, it wouldn't be great because it's 1 in a million to get on the show in the first place. But yeah, something that would win me
You
money.
could just
I
apply
guess.
to every single game show ever and then just hope the host can see the answer.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, something clever like that to profit financially.
Jay?
I was thinking either someone big at YouTube so I could figure out exactly how to
The analytics
break
work.
the algorithm, or someone like a professional poker player or something, just so I could figure out their
poker
way of
would be
thinking.
ideal.
Phil
Yeah.
Ivy.
I know you can only pick one player, which is annoying, but if you could pick all of the
If you
players,
played heads up,
exactly.
if you played heads up though, against
And
one
then
person,
just
that would be
do
ideal.
the most successful poker player ever, and he'll be competitive, and he'll be like, why can't I beat this guy at heads up? And just keep beating him over and over again.
Sure, you could bet your life savings because you know you're
Yeah.
going to win as well.
Yeah, no, that's quite clever, really. I did think it would be quite cool, like, to know what Lewis Hamilton's thinking in the middle of a race. Like, does he sit there going, "I want to pee, I want to pee, I want to pee"? Like, literally, what does he think? Or is it just, here's another bend, here's another bend?
Go faster, go faster,
Yeah,
go faster.
exactly. Literally,
Get out
just
the
to
way.
know. Yeah, just to know what he's thinking would be quite cool. But yeah, that was my only other one. Cool. All right then. Thank you so much to Graham again for joining us, our honorary Wildcat. And I'll pass over to Jay to wrap us up.
So thank you guys so much for joining us on this stream. If you have enjoyed it, please do hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe so you can get that notification bell hit as well, so you know when we go live with our streams each week. Also do check us out on Twitter and Instagram and our Twitch channel as well if you want to see more of us and know more information about when we go live. And that's it from us, so have a good evening and we'll catch you guys next week.
Good night, guys.
Spot.